Welcome to Wild, Women in Lending Determined to Make an Impact. I'm your host, Robyn LaVassaur. They say our biggest fear isn't being inadequate. It's being powerful beyond measure. In this podcast, I will share how to break through imaginary ceilings, lean into success, discovering your purpose, and understanding how to create the business and life of your dreams. From failures to triumphs and all the tactics in between, let's jump into the wild arena together. Welcome back to Wild and Robyn LaVassaur. Woo! How many times have you thought to yourself, I should have followed the direction. I should have done it verbatim, and maybe I would have gotten the same result. When you think about cooking, I'm definitely a cook. I'm not a baker. And I say that I'm not a baker because I love to wing it. I love to wing it. In fact, if somebody likes something that I have cooked, yes, I do cook, I literally will try to give them the ballpark of how it's created. But the truth is, I wing it every single time. I watch someone do something and then I kind of put my own little spin on it. And most of the time, it's pretty darn good. But I can't necessarily give it away to other people. Now, bakers, you know that every ingredient matters, and it matters to the T, right? You measure something, you got to put it in. And if you skip something like baking soda, those cookies don't turn out well. So I don't love to bake because it needs more exact amounts, preciseness, if you will. And I feel honestly like, my high D personality is definitely a don't boss me type of personality. And so ironically, I decided to get into coaching years ago. By the way, very best decision that I could have ever made in my career was actually being part of coaching, and always to this day, always having those mentors, right? Do a lot of episodes around mentorship and listening and implementing and ultimately taking direction from somebody else. So why are things taken so frequently as if they are suggested? Meaning that, again, people say, do this and do this, and they might even give you a step by step. And we're like, I think I've got it, right? We're cooking, we're not baking. We're not willing to follow those directions. And so I'm going to tell you a fun little story that I have loved to share over the years. And it is a true story. I was in this coaching program for a lot of years. And one of the things that they taught was kind of a play-by-play on how to do events. And as they taught how to do events, past client events, current client events, realtor events, whatever it was that was going on, there was truly a playbook that was meant to be followed to get maximum results. And I made every excuse in the book that I didn't even realize I was making, but I literally said things like, well, we're going to do this. We're going to do this part. We're going to do this part, but we're going to skip this over here. Not going to do that because it won't work. This feels weird. Doesn't feel like me. So I'm going to negate that. This doesn't work in my market. So pretty much every reason. And I can tell you now that as a coach and coaching students, not coaching full-time, it always makes me giggle when I hear them say, it's not my market. That won't work for me. That's not my personality. Because I think, oh, you are me. You are me. And I still have a little bit of that in me, right? Like I'm going to cook, I'm not going to bake. Well, I will tell you that there are formulas to things that it's not that you couldn't possibly enhance, possibly even reinvent and get the results. But when you're not actually getting the results, doing it your way, do it the way that somebody told you to do it. I think there's an old adage in there somewhere around what if men would just listen to women the first time, right? Then they would always get it right. I think there's something like that in there. But needless to say, okay, so let's talk about the story for a minute. So I did events for years and still love to do events. We did everything from movies where we dressed up and had all of our clients come for family day or date night, literally greeting everybody, saying hello, thanking them for the business, thanking them for being part of, Team LaVassaur. We had events at parks and sponsorships. We had Easter events, you name it. Our biggest one was an annual karaoke Christmas party. Anybody that knows me knows that I love a microphone and love to sing. And we would all be there every year. And it became such an ordeal that people every year would say, I can't wait for the invitation to the karaoke party. Very fun. Tons of clients, ironically, and realtors, all different people would show up, sing, wear an ugly sweater. We always had prizes. lots of things that I had learned. We would call, text, email. We did the great invites, follow-up plan. And at the end, we would always say, oh gosh, then we got a referral from them later in the year, or we did a couple deals that, they're on that list. And that was always enough. That's how we credited the event. Now, yes, events can just be out of gratitude. Both can be true. And I justified for a very long time that I never asked for business, never had people fill out a "we need your help" form or a referral form at all if I was hosting an event. And I would say one negates the other, right? Like you can't invite people over and then ask them for something at the same time. What a rude host. And this story is what changed everything. So a realtor that joined the same coaching program as me, he is in his first semester. And let me tell you, he is much better behaved and much less in his head than I was. In fact, I would joke that he was a little robotic. Everything that somebody told him, he would just march perfectly to those orders. I was one that would kind of go, yeah, I'll take that. I'll take a little of this. I'll do this over here. And so I've been doing events for years. I had an uber amount of success and closings and everything was going really well in my world. He's just really trying to get started. And so he calls me and says, I'm going to do an event and I'm going to do it like I feel like I need to do it right away. So with 2 weeks notice, he puts together an event and I get the invite for it. And we're really doing great, referring each other back and forth for business. And he invites me to this event. And it's one of those events that I didn't even want to go to, not because I didn't love to see him and the past clients and those things, but because I had other personal things. It's 5:30, I think on a Wednesday night, literally at a local pizza parlor in kind of the heart of town. And I'm thinking, oh boy, I don't want to go and make small talk. I don't really want to show up, but I need to go and support. And so one of my LPs and I, we jam over to the event. And as we walk in, there's a red carpet, legitimately a red carpet in the pizza parlor. And the realtor's assistant is standing there greeting, so nice to meet you, so good to see you, all of those things. Here's 2 drink tickets. Go ahead and grab yourself a drink, soda, beer, wine, whatever you'd like. And then there's community pizza on all the tables down here. And I'm thinking to myself, this pizza parlor is packed. I wonder if the event is small, but there's a lot of other people. It's a very popular pizza parlor just doing other things. Oh no, it was packed and it was almost all packed for the realtor event. But there's a big display with basically, backdrop for pictures and things of the realtor's team name and balloons. And then you see a table that's full of gifts. Now, here's one of the key points. So first of all, walking in, red carpet. If you're writing something down about events, hear me. Red carpet. 2 drink tickets handed to you. So actual tickets that you could take to the counter and get a drink or 2. Then you walk down to the actual group and there was gifts on a table, a display, like I said, that's a photo backdrop basically. And immediately the realtor, his name's Tim, was positioned right up front to say, oh, hey, I'm so glad you're here. Hey, I've got a couple people I want you to meet. And he instantly starts connecting me with people. And I see him and his team doing this throughout the night. So hey, you've got to meet this person. One of them was the owner of a Dairy Queen, an ice cream store, essentially. If you don't have a Dairy Queen in your town, I'm fairly sure everybody does. And he's introducing him as the best owner of a Dairy Queen on the planet, right? Like, this is the best Dairy Queen in town, bar none. His dentist is there. There's all sorts of people there, and he's connecting everyone. By the way, later, I did financing for people from all of the introductions that he had made for me that night, which was pretty incredible. So as we're sitting there grabbing community pizza, making some small talk, he asked for everybody's attention. He goes to the front of the room and he says, hey, everyone, just want to thank you guys so much for coming, for pre-registering to be here. A lot of you have already filled out a form that actually created the outcome of all the gifts on this table. And so my business runs on community, friends, family, relationships from people like all of you. And so there's a lot of people here tonight that I want to give honor to because they referred me a deal. And so I want to honor you by giving you a little gift. And so if the following people could come up here, and all of those people had referred him one closed transaction, essentially a buyer or a seller. And he called them all up and he hands them all a little gift. And then he says, this next group of people referred me over 2 deals and let me help 2 of their friends or family or coworkers into homes or out of homes. And I'm just so grateful, gives tons of honor. And he calls all those people up. Mind you, there are fun little gifts and there's bags full of gifts and there's a book in there and there's a fun keyless lock code to a door, like all these things. And so then he does the next group and it's 1 step higher and that's it. And he thanks everyone. He says, hey guys, for a minute, I want to see if you have any other friends, family, relatives that I can help in the upcoming year. And mind you, this is late in the year. I think it's around December that he's having this event. And so he asks everybody, if I pass out this form, I'd love to have you write down a couple names of people. I promise you I'm not going to call them until I follow up with you, but I would love to reach out and get them ready to be a buyer or be a seller in the, 20, I don't know if it was a 2020 market or a 2021 or a 2019. I can't remember the exact year, but this is what takes place. And as he's doing it, all of a sudden the event wraps, everybody takes a picture with him and his team. Like it was super nice night, spent about an hour and a half there. We go home and the next day he calls me and he says, you're never going to believe the results that I got from that event. Now, mind you, I've been hosting events for years, at least 3 or 4. He had 54 referrals at that event, 54 referrals of people that were thinking about buying or selling. Over the next few months, he booked 13 listings and 7 buyer transactions off of the leads that people had filled out and given to him at that event. Now, I will tell you, I've been hosting events for years, and I had said there, Merry Christmas, so glad you came. Thank you for the business. Hope you're doing well. Let me know if you need anything. We'd love to help friends and family. But I had never followed the process that had been coached to me years before, step by step by step, because I had convinced myself that the way we did it was the right way, was the best way, that all the other things wouldn't fit, that people wouldn't enjoy themselves, that it would be awkward. Here he comes in and follows every single step of the plan that had been given to us, verbatim. And the results that he got from that event blew my mind. To this day, they blow my mind. And so we followed everything step by step on our next events. And the first one that we did, we ended up with, I think, around 34, 36 leads. And we'd been doing it for years and kind of could estimate what our results were prior. And this time we had a true measurable, including things that weren't measurable that later on happened from the event that we had just hosted. And everybody had, in fact, probably even a better time. We had a better time. It was actually very fun to be so clear and so grateful to our clients to then receive additional referrals in and be able to track it and measure it and know what those results were all about. So the next time you think, I'm a cook, I'm going to do it my way, everything's always going to feel a little different. It's going to taste a little different. I can tell you that for great results, you need to do predictable things. You need to follow things like it is a baking recipe and everything has to be exact. And if you're willing to do that, your results will be so much greater. And I will tell you, I wish that I would have seen that same thing with my own eyes, right? Because sometimes we have to see it to believe it years prior, because it would have, I think about the amount of opportunity that we would have created in all the years prior and all the events that we had ever done, the money that we had spent. Man, what a difference it would have made. So how many times have you been given a step-by-step process? You've asked for all the details. You have the recipe card, but you don't follow it. Coaching is not a suggestion. It's actually a play-by-play, a step-by-step path to success that somebody has found and they're willing to share with you, but you've got to be willing to run that play. If this episode was helpful, I hope that you share it. We'll see you on the next Wild.